Thank you very much. The chair now recognizes Ms. Craig for 5 minutes for her opening statement.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight on behalf of all Minnesotans. You know, this hearing is not political theater to me. We have a mental health and addiction crisis in America, and that's making our communities less safe. Folks are dying and families are being absolutely torn apart. And yes, it's leading to more crime. My constituents aren't interested in a blame game. They're interested in solutions. This shouldn't be a partisan circus or a political wedge issue. We owe that to the families of people we've lost to this epidemic. My sincere hope is that we can have an honest conversation in America at the border tonight with each of you. How is illicit fentanyl entering our nation? We just told you that 97% of it is coming across legal ports of entry. I see absolutely no testimony on that fact here in this testimony tonight. What resources can we give law enforcement at the border to stop it? Is it more technology? Is it more Customs and Border Patrol officers? How can we disrupt these flows? How else are these raw materials getting across our nation? What can we do to support DEA as they work to disrupt the cartels responsible for this criminal activity? What can we do to educate young people on the dangers of buying any drug on a social media platform? What responsibility do social media companies have in helping save lives? We have a real problem, America, and it does nothing for our constituents if we revert to the kind of politics that is pretending to care about a problem but really thinking about who we can pin the blame on in the next election. I have the privilege of representing Minnesota's 2nd Congressional District. My constituents are some of the most engaged and compassionate and resilient people in this nation. Devin Noring was one of them. He was an honor student at Hastings High School who loved playing football, making music, and skateboarding. He was an adventurer, and he took every chance he could to enjoy life. He loved his family. He was a protector to his siblings, and he would give a stranger the shirt off his back. I never got to know Devin. What I know comes from his parents, and sadly, his obituary. Because on April 4th, 2020, Devin died in his sleep as a result of a fentanyl overdose. Seeking relief from blackout migraines and dental pain, Devin had bought what he thought was a Percocet pill from a drug dealer on Snapchat. That pill turned out to be 100% fentanyl. He was 19 years old. You know, sometimes we get lost in these numbers, but we need to keep in mind that the real cost is a human cost. Devin didn't want to die. Devin was killed. He had a full life ahead of him, and it was cut short. In November of last year, I was on a ride-along with the Shakopee Police Department. The first call of that night, a young man was brought back to life by Narcan on the floor of a family restaurant. It's just another night for law enforcement in my community, but addiction, mental illness, and other challenges have stretched us all thin, and especially them. I came face to face with the intersection of mental illness, addiction, and crime late last week. There are no easy answers. If there were, we wouldn't be still sitting here talking about it, and people wouldn't be dying. But the reality is that this is a complex problem that requires bipartisan solutions. And political theater and grandstanding and ignoring the facts gets us nowhere. We absolutely need to permanently schedule fentanyl-related substances as a Class 1 drug. But FRS has been emergency scheduled since 2018, and fentanyl overdoses have only increased. That tells me that permanent scheduling alone is not enough. We must continue to invest in resources for those who are suffering from substance use disorder, bolster mental health, and stem the flow of fentanyl coming across the United States border through legal ports of entry as well as through other illicit means. We also must address the common avenues of distribution, such as social media, and make sure that parents are taught the signs, that young people understand you cannot take anything bought on a social media platform. We need our law enforcement officers in our nation's schools making sure that they know that. You know, my colleagues, you titled this hearing Biden's Border Crisis. Even the title of the hearing is political. I hope our actions today are aimed at finding real policy solutions, not just scoring political points. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, because that's exactly what I intend to do, is find real solutions. And I yield back.